Hey, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo. It's Rumor and Innuendo. I'm flying solo. It's Dom solo today, but I'm not solo because I'm with all of you. And thank you for joining in and tuning in here live every Monday through Friday. Let's say hi to some folks in the chat here. We got Triple E saying, "What's up? The Muppet Show special 5 out of 5. Do you believe in Joe Hendry?" I'm interested to see the Muppet Show, actually. Willie Thornberry says he's so excited for another edition of R&I. Wrestling Old joins us. Good after morning, R&I peeps. It's Wednesday. You know what that means? It means I'm really, what's a synonym for thrilled? Oh, yeah, excited. I guess I got to play it here. Oh, Mullen, I got to play it. Devin Dowling says, "Hey, yo, Jungle Jack versus Ricochet will be a barn burner tonight." Yes, it will. I'm excited for that one. JWA, thanks for joining in. DeWalt says, "Morning, fellas. Good to see you." Oh, is that Joseph Wade Walters? Yes, it is. Joseph Wade Walt. That's what it is. Joseph Wade Walt. Glad I spelled it out there. Wanna Bree says, "Hello, owner. I believe that Dom will play some exciting music today. Perhaps I will." Larry Z, who's excited for Dynamite? And Cammy Star, after morning. It's a fine day to believe in Joe Hendry. Yes, it is. Let's start with that, huh? I'm trying to get the logo up in the right manner so people can actually see what show this is. But look, they happen to, Joe Hendry has been a little bit forgotten. Has he not? Has he not? He's been a little bit. Let's not lie here. Um, he had that big, awesome appearance. I believe it was at Royal Rumble last year. I'm adjusting. I don't think how this is looking. I guess that's good enough, right? You guys know what show this is. But so he kind of got usurped by Mr. Iguana, if you remember correctly, and then he bounced in between TNA and stuff like that. So he hasn't necessarily been presented as well as maybe he should have been, right? Like, he kind of got forgotten and like kind of the bloom got off the rose a little bit. Not necessarily through any fault of his own, but I do feel that they could have done him a little bit better. This is a good way to hit the reset button for him, but for also NXT. Like putting him as your NXT champion shows the confidence that they have in him. But on top of it, too, it's a notable name that people are familiar with, that the ardent fan are familiar with. And NXT is that kind of platform where you can have a little bit more fun and create a little bit of intriguing matchups with Joe Hendry. And there, in turn, it sets Joe Hendry up for a new phase almost. I interviewed Joe probably, is it 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and I asked him, do you think once this allure of the believe in Joe Hendry kind of ideal kind of runs its course, do you believe in yourself? I don't think I said believe in yourself, but are you confident that you're able to pivot? And he's like, yes. Even before I got the whole question out, he was like, I know that I'm capable of doing something different if need be and everything like that. And not necessarily that he needs to do something super different at this point in time, because I do think that what he's doing, the act still works. And I just don't think it was propped up in the right manner, both by TNA and by WWE in certain manners. So I'm happy for him. I think he'll do a great job. He looks like a star, and it's a good foot forward, I think, for NXT. And so what a fun kind of match to have, a 7-man ladder match. It's pretty wild. And so cool win for him, and cool position for NXT here. Let's get some comments. Take a look at some of what you folks are saying here. Devin Dowling says, "My boss, who doesn't watch wrestling ever, says he got home late and turned on the TV to see a ladder match happening. So he checked it out. Said it was the worst match he'd possibly ever saw." Oh, wow. So that match didn't go well. Interesting. I actually didn't watch NXT, but I figured this is news to talk about, was that Joe Hendry winning the title. Either which way, like, you put the title on him, I think it's probably a good move. And Hendry just lost the TNA title too. So yeah, it kind of keeps things going a little bit, Dre Owens has joined us. Welcome, Dre. Thank you for chiming on in, tuning on in. So yes, good first few steps here for NXT. And a time where it's like WrestleMania season coming on, why not put the title on, a guy like Joe Hendry, and you can create a really fun matchup for WrestleMania weekend, which was stand and deliver. I typically believe for NXT during that time. So that'll be a good thing you can really do. That's what I heard about the ladder. I did hear the spot like Shiloh Hill, like one of the ladders busted or something, or he busted the ladder and he had to walk on it like stilts. So kind of wild. Yes, I have to go and try to watch the match just to get a good gauge for it. It'll be Roadblock. Seriously, they turned it to Roadblock for WrestleMania this year. What a awful name that is for a pay per view. I don't PLE, whatever you want to call it. I just don't. Nobody. There's no intrinsic value to the term Roadblock. It came during a time where WWE was not very good. Like Roadblock, the WCW enhancement talent, is a different story. But Roadblock, the WPLE pay per view, does not do anything for me. Why not call it Starcade? No, something. Have some fun with some of the retro pay per views, whether that's an ECW one or a WCW one. I think you could have a good, I don't know. Come on, Roadblock sucks. All right. Did want to touch upon that. Figured that was pretty newsworthy for sure. So, yeah, Joe Hendry, I think there's some potential to kind of maybe have NXT recalibrate and find some further footing of what they maybe a game plan that they want to do. So having a guy like Joe Hendry is kind of like having an above average quarterback. Not that Joe Henry's above average, like he's better than that, but I mean, like it's like getting a good franchise quarterback to helm your team. And so I think that's putting him in the right position and putting NXT in the right position as they head towards WrestleMania season. So there are my thoughts on that. Yeah, great balls of fire. What was the what was the name of the pay per view that they had when Bray and Braun Strowman wrestled in the swamp or whatever? Didn't that have a stupid name? Or am I thinking of something different? There's been a lot of dumb named PLEs over the course of the time. There really has been. Or why don't you go like call it like Armageddon or I don't know. Hit one of your like they do No Mercy, right? They do No Mercy now. I don't know. There's just other names you can kind of have a little bit more fun with. Fully Loaded. NXT Fully Loaded at WrestleMania. Boom. There it is. Fully Loaded. I like that one. That's what it was. Extreme Rules Horror Show. Yikes. Yikes. Thank you, Devin. All right. Yeah, we are excited, aren't we? We all got to be really excited for tonight because it is a Wednesday and you know what that means.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
All right. Yeah, we're all jazzed up, right? You got to be jazzed up. Like Devin Dowling mentioned earlier, Ricochet versus Jungle Jack Perry should be a good match. But they've been like having that feud. So is this like why are they having this match on Dynamite instead of hey, why not wait till you have your like all in Grand Slam or what is it called? Just Grand Slam, AEW Grand Slam. Or you could maybe prolong it till Revolution. It's still a month and a half away, probably, right? But yeah, I don't like I'm excited. I'm excited for the match, but I don't think I don't know if putting it on just a random Dynamite is the right move to do either. Are they in Las Vegas? I think they're in Las Vegas tonight, actually. It's funny because yes, they are. They are in Las Vegas. It's so wild to think. I associate Las Vegas greatly with AEW because oh my god, what is it now? 2019. How many years ago is 2019? So 7 years ago was my first wrestling related work trip. I was writing for WrestleZone at the time, and my boss, who still works there and runs the helm, shout out to Bill Pritchard. He asked if I would go to the AEW ticket announcement party, and I did. First time I ever was in Las Vegas. First time experienced any of that, and I was just on my own, like doing the press stuff. And I tell you what, it was a really special time to be a part of it all. And so, like, I always associate AEW with Las Vegas and vice versa. So it's kind of bittersweet in certain ways that, Double or Nothing has gone away from Las Vegas and done different things. And at the same time, too, WWE's kind of made that more of their home, is Las Vegas, obviously, for WrestleMania these past 2 years. Because, like, at the time, it was such a burgeoning, a lot of hope and optimism and excitement behind what AEW was doing, because at this time they didn't even have Dynamite. It was just a Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Their first ever pay-per-view was getting announced later for May. And it was a little brisk. It was a little brisk in Vegas at that time too. But met a lot of media members for the first time. Andreas Hale, I remember meeting, who's from Las Vegas. He writes for ESPN. He's the notable guy that wrote the review of WrestlePalooza on ESPN.com. Formed some relationships, and in turn too, I got to interact with a lot of the names, like the Young Bucks. Randomly ran into Nick Jackson, interacted with MJF. I won't spoil anything that the kind of discourse we had, but it was neat. It was a super, super cool time to be a part and be at the cusp of all that stuff. And it makes me think too how much has changed since then, in so many ways. In AEW, obviously, and WWE too, and how wild this business and run has been. So pretty neat. Okay, let's talk Dynamite, huh? Let's talk a little Dynamite. Wow, we got it going. Let's see if I can I'll do a little screen share. A little screen share happening. Image file, share screen. All right. X. We got All Elite Wrestling here. Let's make sure people can see it. It's not even up. All right, Dominic. Good job. Here we go. Boom. All right, let's take a look. These are just some of the matches. Tonight, MJF versus Brody King, the Eliminator match. We all love Eliminator matches, right? My goodness. So exciting. Look, I get this. I don't. Why have this? Why not have Brody King have to fight somebody else that's a top contender for the world championship? Even if you position them in a certain manner, like have him go up against like a former champ. Like, what's the harm in having, I don't know, I'm just going to try to pick a random name. Samoa Joe, Brody King versus Samoa Joe. You got to go through Samoa Joe. Not that that's necessarily the best match to have if you're doing things with Samoa Joe, but like have somebody like that instead of just, okay, we're already getting MJF versus Brody King. So we see it first and then we'll see it again at Grand Slam. It just doesn't make sense. I do think Brody King wins this match and then he goes on to Grand Slam to face MJF. I do think that happens. Oh, interesting. Wrestling Old Ed feels differently. I would love it if King won here, but something else tells me he's getting screwed. Could happen. I almost prefer maybe that would happen. If they're doing this stupid eliminator match, like don't have him have the match then. Like make this mean something instead of, having him just be a fodder for MJF in his title run. Like I would rather have that happen, I think. And then you prolong that later. Maybe if you want to put Brody King in the world title picture later on, it would make more sense than after that. So I'm all right at that. Wrestling World adds this about the Las Vegas. AEW ties into Vegas and y'all economy very well. All in, all out, Double or Nothing, the Casino Gauntlet, all connected in some ways to Vegas. Yes, it ties into all that. And like it just was really neat. MGM Grand Studio, it was taking place in that arena, MGM Grand Arena. So it was like a smaller, intimate venue, but still really neat. Just felt like a really cool, big deal, special time. So yeah, I'm with you. Devin says Brody beats Sammy Guevara, and then he'll beat a pillar, and then he beats a pillar. Yeah, but Sammy's not a focus on the show, unfortunately, as much as he used to be. You know, um, have Brody beat Sammy. I see what you mean, but that's not going to earn you a world title shot, right? Like they never show Sammy. They never show Sammy. Dre Owens says sometimes the matches being announced gives away the winner. Yeah, right. It does. I mean, it obviously gives away a winner too when you have like, oh, Kenny Omega's taking on Rocky Romero. Well, we know who's going to win that. John Moxley's taking on Ace Austin. Okay, we know who's going to win that, right? It's like we kind of get this formula that AEW follows with right now. Wrestling All That says, with everyone gunning for MJF's title, do you think he's got to get an insurance policy or two? What's Richard Holiday and Hammerstone doing? See, that would be great. I'd love it if they brought in Hammerstone for sure. Richard Holiday, like the Dynasty was great. I love that faction in MLW. I do. They were fun. They were like had great chemistry with one another, but they were credible because they all looked great, and they all kind of fit that thing. Jeff Hanger says AEW should have Kenny Blankenship and Vic Romano announce all eliminator matches. I'm sorry, I don't get that reference. Who is Kenny Blankenship and Vic Romano? Are they MMA guys? Are they MMA guys? Sorry, I don't get the reference, Jeff. But let's see if we get other matches on this card that we like, huh? Let's take a look. We'll pop the share screen back up. All right. Also on the tap is Kenny Omega versus Andrade El Idolo. Should be a good match. Yeah, I loved the match last week with El Idolo. It's just really, really well done, and I thought like he needs to get some wins under his belt. So him getting a win last week was great. So will it end tonight? Yes, I imagine so, because Kenny is been gunning for MJF, and it just I guess it does make sense, but don't know. I'd try to protect some of your talent here. Why put them in the position to lose straight up? Like they'll probably do with El Idolo here as Kenny gets a win. But we'll see. We'll see. They've done different things in the past, so who knows? So there we go. Also on tap, let's hit over. Okay, never mind. That didn't work. We got Hangman Page taking on Mark Davis. Uh-oh, who's going to win this one? Huh? Who we got? These are like glorified enhancement talent matches. Like this is the formula that AEW has gone, and I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing. Why not just have Hangman Page will be in action, and you have him fight somebody that's gonna lose? Like, I mean, Mark Davis, sure, there's not really anything you're necessarily doing with him, but he was part of a tag team with Davis and Doyle. Like, don't you want to keep? I know, unfortunately, Jake Doyle got hurt, so he's out for an extended period of time, likely with a torn bicep. But like, why put your talent in this position? The simple fact that you're advertising Hangman Page in action, is fine. Then he just kicks the crap out of somebody, and you get that thing. So, oh yes. Wow, I forgot about this. Who was that old MMA manager in the early days of Dynamite that had all the titles? Yeah, Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert. He was like that really obnoxious heel. He got some heat for that stuff. That's right. That's right, Jeff. Thank you for that reminder. The most extreme elimination challenge. Don't get eliminated. That's right. Yeah, what a great show that was. So okay, there it is. Hangman Page taking on Mark Davis. It's not like a huge thing. Like, yeah, Mark Davis could lose, but still, it's just like, he's part of a tag team. Why not keep him hot? It's just, I don't think they do their due diligence of protecting some of their mid card and their talent. Ricochet, Jungle Jack Perry, AEW National Championship I'm just surprised they're having this match tonight. Maybe they'll close the show with it, whatever. But you know, you're you're creating a feud between these two. Why not pay it off on a bigger show than just a random Dynamite? You know. So who knows? I don't know. Should be a good match. I'm excited for it either way. Curious what they're gonna else have on tap here. Let's take a look. I actually made the rundown, so I should have brought that up. And seen what else is on tap. Let's take a look. All right, I guess I covered it all. Actually, those are the 4 matches that were advertised. I thought there was a full blown card of other things. Well, so here's what they need to do. Let's talk about what they need to do, perhaps, huh? How about getting the Young Bucks on there? MJF needs to obviously, I think have promo time and mic time. He definitely enhances the show, so I'd make him always a constant factor. I'd love to see where's Eddie Kingston been. What's up with that, huh? Love to see Eddie Kingston. This is after Royal Rumble. This is on the road to WrestleMania. I wouldn't, if I were AEW, I wouldn't go hot shot anything. And, they kind of are, though, in a certain way, like with the Ricochet and Jungle Jack Perry match in a roundabout way. But I would certainly try to make a statement here in regards to, hey, we're still a really good product, and this is what you need to tune in for. There's always opportunities for AEW to create a little bit of a wave. Oh, I mean, follow up big time would be Tommaso Ciampa. Yeah, Eddie Kingston has been on Collision, but do we watch Collision? We do not watch Collision. It's put him on Collision, put him on Dynamite, in some capacity. It just, and even if it's in an effort to advertise Collision, hey, Eddie's has a promo here. He's going to be on Collision. Catch him, check him out. But I mean, if he's just on Collision, that's where he's at, and it's unfortunate. It's just, I thought last week's Dynamite, from whatever. Yeah, I enjoyed last week's Dynamite overall. I had a lot of praise for it. So I always go in Dynamite with skepticism because it's are they going to follow through with stuff? Dre Owens says a new Pinnacle could work, MJF, FTR, and maybe Ciampa. I think I'm kind of with you in regards to maybe pairing FTR with MJF again. I think you could do that, I think that would kind of hit the refresh button on FTR, who have kind of just been okay, they're a tag team and they're here and we're all familiar with them, but what else is new for them? I think there's that kind of runs the play. Collision is the answer to all your AEW related questions. If you're hey, where's this guy been? What's this gal been up to? Why haven't we seen this title be defended? It's all taking place on Collision, everybody. That's why. See, look at this. Eddie got stoned with the Rascals in the parking lot on Collision. Not even joking. Put that on Dynamite. I don't get it. Just put it on Dynamite. A new talent you've acquired in the Rascals. I forgot about the Rascals. And they just debuted them a couple weeks ago. Do those segments on Dynamite and then make them have a match on Collision. It makes 0 sense. 0 sense. Again, if I had hair, I'd pull it out. I'd be pulling out several times. All right, let's take a look at the jerk cheats real quick before we close this show out. But yes, I want to be excited for Dynamite. And usually when I watch it, there's things that I can be very critical of, but there's also things I like. But it's just tough, man. It's after all the opportunities that they had to really make something super duper special and make it such a unique thing, there's been so many missteps. They take one step forward and then it's 3 steps back. It really is. What is this? Tony Khan comments on Powerhouse Hobbs, also known as Royce Keys, leaving AEW. I'll always wish him the best. Let's see what he said. AEW president was asked about Keys' departure from AEW during a chat with Josh Martinez. Here's what he had to say. Well, I think Powerhouse Hobbs had a great run here in AEW. He started wrestling here in Jacksonville, where I am now, and he had some great matches. He became a champion in AEW. We're just talking about the TNT champion. He's a former TNT champion, former World Trio champion. I'll always wish him the best. All right, so kind of boilerplate talk. Don't know. It's a funny quote that Jeff Penninger. I'll put it up. Jeff says, "I'm pretty sure they released the Epstein files on Collision." Devin says he listened to that interview right before this, got like halfway through, then got the notification. I'm glad that I override a Tony Khan interview as engaging content, or me and Robert. At least you probably expected Robert to be here too, but you just got me. So, thank you, Devin. Yeah, I mean, instead of Tony saying like, "Oh, this has been great. It's been great to have him here," and I know you're keeping it classy, and that's probably the way you should handle it. I sure would like him to see him keep the talent instead of talking about, "Oh, it was great to have them, and I'll always respect them." Like, why not keep them? Why not keep Powerhouse Hobbs? Why not keep a Cody Rhodes? Why not keep a CM Punk? Make the efforts to do all that stuff. And I know takes two to tango, things come into play, all that other stuff. But I mean, if you created a good foundation for your product that talent was excited about working with and sticking around, and money's to be made and star powers to be had, then you have the things in place to re-sign talent that should be re-signed. And then in turn, your company feels like a big deal and it doesn't feel like a distant second place. I harsh on AEW and what I say, but it's all in love. It really is. I wax poetic about the ticket announcement party. It just was such a cool time, and it just really hurts and bums me out that they're just not in the position that they should be, and they should be in a better position. It's like, to make an extreme comparison, it's like having a kid. Not that I have a kid, I have a cat. It's like having a kid and then like putting it in the best position, doing your darndest as a parent to put them in the best position to succeed and do the right things, and then the kid just makes the mistakes that kids do. And but they're not learning from their mistakes, it feels like, and that's very frustrating. Let's see. Tony Kong, I can't. I don't know. I need to be in it. That's a funny comment, but I'm not gonna put that one up. Blue Dirt one says he posted up the money, but Hobbs still made the decision to leave. It's not that he didn't try. Right. Well, Hobbs is smart enough to know that his value will be raised if he goes to AEW because it's a star power thing. Like, he knows that he has a ceiling in AEW. There's more potential for him to make something different of himself than sticking in AEW. Yeah, he could be making a lot of money hand over fist, but like, if Tony Khan was like cognizant of past missteps and what has been wrong here with how he's handled talent by putting them on television, but then taking them off, and then like not keeping them in the mix, and then changing and pivoting from a certain storyline to another one, and not putting the focus on him. And there, in turn, that star power wanes for talent like a Hobbs or a Ricky Saints or a Jade Cargill, or you name it. Like, these wrestlers, unfortunately, had that sober realization that AEW is making a lot of mistakes, and they're like, and it's very frustrating to be in this existence when like it's usually cash or creative. Well, guess what? Creative is one half of that too. And Hobbs was not liking the creative in AEW, so maybe he goes for brighter pastures in WWE for creative, and he can still get some cash. Maybe not as much at this moment in time, but who knows? Who knows what could happen? So I can't fault Hobbs for leaving whatsoever. And I can't fault any of them for leaving whatsoever, because it's a very, very frustrating thing from a creative standpoint of how AEW handles a lot of the talent, the majority of the talent, and that's from the top to the bottom. Like, you know, you can certainly find criticism, and like, not that WWE is perfect. They aren't. I'm not saying that, but I am saying though that there is a certain concerted direction sometimes with WWE where there doesn't, for the most part, on the lower card and even on the top of the card, seems like there's a direction. So I don't fault Hobbs for leaving. I don't whatsoever. I think he probably made the right move. He definitely made the right move. You know, I think for him, even if it's a risk, like even say that he gets put in a position that Rusev is in, like I do not fault him for making that decision. And, you know, he'll still make money, but like, you know, I don't, if Tony Khan did the due diligence of protecting Hobbs and utilizing him in the right way, you don't think Hobbs would have like stayed? I do. Like, I think, and especially if the environment was good and organized and structured, that, you know, hey, this foundation is strong here in AEW. I like what we're doing. I like that we're the anti WWE in certain ways, and like, and we have a clear cut direction, and there's clear, but clearly stuff is not together. Communication is broken down, and things don't play in the favor of talent from a creative standpoint. From a money standpoint, sure, get that payday. Maybe that's what we'll see with AJ Styles. Who knows? Who knows? But let's see. Blue Dirt chimes in. Yeah, way too many stops and starts in AEW. This is a great opportunity, so hope it works out for him. Yeah, I agree. It's just like, I hope it does too. I hope they utilize Hobbs in the right manner that AEW didn't. You know, and I will in turn be equally frustrated and disappointed from the AEW perspective that WWE took advantage of this big star and AEW had the opportunity and did not. Coming from a New York Jets fan, seeing Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl this Sunday, I'm so happy for Sam Darnold. But I knew as a Jets fan when Sam was struggling and when like they did not put him in the right position to win, the New York Jets, and it would have never worked out if Sam stuck in New York. He had to go somewhere else, and boy, did he. He went to Carolina, struggled in Carolina, finally found some footing as a backup in San Francisco, and then who put him in the right position? But the Minnesota Vikings. And then who didn't take advantage of him? The Minnesota Vikings. And here he is with the Seattle Seahawks, starting quarterback in the Super Bowl. And so the AEW is very reflective of my New York Jets. All right. That'll do it for me today. Robert, I'm sure we'll be back tomorrow, as we are every Monday through Friday here on a plethora of channels and outlets. The Ad Free Show's YouTube page, the Oh You Didn't Know YouTube page, the at Rumor and Innuendo YouTube page, Podcast Heat Wrestling YouTube. Type that one in. Subscribe to that one. That's the main one. And then you can also check us out on Podcast Heat X account at WDCreative_ish on X. That's Robert's account. At Dominic D'Angelo on X. That's my account. And at SE Scoops X account as well. If you haven't yet, go back, go to studio1sports.com and check out a live discussion I had with Mr. Kevin Callum as we broke down our thoughts about Roman Reigns versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. Is it the right move? I certainly believe it is. And we not only talked about that, but we had some other topics that we covered too, surrounding WrestleMania and the overall vibe going down there too. Also, new episode of One of a Kind with RVD is now up. Great conversation with Rob. We talk about him flying on Vince McMahon's jet by himself for the Breaking Point video he did for One of a Kind, the music video. He talks about the team meetings WWE used to have with Vince McMahon. Were they beneficial? Or were they counterproductive? Rob chimes in on that. He talks a little bit about the plane ride from hell, Brock Lesnar versus Mr. Perfect. We talk about Sol Ruka and what he sees in Sol Ruka, which is awesome, and plenty of other fun topics too. Stan Hansen, learning some tough love from Stan Hansen. It's a really, really great watch and listen. So go to rvdtv.com, like, share, subscribe to that, help get the word out, and help us with that algorithm as well. Let's see. Thank you for the kind words, Devin. Good show. Thank you. One of Bree says Robert was just trying to avoid the Pointer Sisters Day. That might have been it. He said he had a lunch-related work meeting. Maybe just didn't want to hear the Pointer Sisters. So, or maybe Robert was a masked man. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. So, we could maybe talk about that tomorrow here on Rumor and Innuendo. Best of luck in all your future endeavors, and stay warm outside as we, according to the groundhog, have 6 more weeks of winter. Hopefully not, though. Shh.